The story begins with Yurato, who wants to go to Tokyo. Scene changes when Detective Inugami Kohachi comes to the Kanoka villa. A hostess arrives to pick him up and updates him about the rotting livestock carcasses. These cases are happening in the Kanoka villa, and she doesn't disclose them in front of the children. In addition, she also prohibits him to reveals in front of the children, because she wants to keep it a secret. Hostess also calls Inugami to sort out this case. However, she takes him to the house and gives him a delicious meal. At the same time, he looks at the boy who is working in the field. He is the main character, and children call him Dorotabo. Inugami tries to talk with him, but he just greets him and returns to his work. He inquires about him from the hostess, but she wants to deal with this matter late. In the following scene, Inugami is taking a hot spring when Yurato arrives to scratch his back. By availing of this opportunity, he tells him about his interest to move on Tokyo, but Inugami shows his interest in Dorotabo, and Yurato speaks ill about him. Also, he shares the meaning of his name that the children kept because he stinks a lot. Moreover, Inugami shows his interest in Dorotabo instead of Yurato in front of the hostess. So, she asks Dorotabo to present the breakfast Inugami. After taking a bath, when he goes to present his breakfast, he holds him for a second. He introduces himself and also wants to know more about the incidents. So, Dorotabo tells him that he must bury the dead animals. Also, he reveals that most of them are chickens, and this incident always happens on the full moon. There are 5 days left in the full moon, so both spend time together. Even Inugami helps him in farming, and hostess is shocked to see it. Besides this, Inugami asks him to show the pendant that Dorotabo is wearing. Dorotabo has this pendant since when he was a child. Also, his parents abandoned him after handing him the pendant. But Inugami reveals that this pendant is rare, so they have no questions about him. Now, Inugami is also ready to find his parents, because he is a detective. However, full moon night has arrived, and he is waiting for Inugami. Meanwhile, Yurato looks at him and accuses him of snatching his dream, because he wants to go to Tokyo, but Inugami intends to have him in Tokyo. This has made him infuriated, because he is the only stinky worker at his house. Also, he pulls the pendant from Dorotabo's neck, and Dorotabo punches his face. After removing this pendant, Dorotabo becomes a monster, and Yurato runs away after seeing him like this. So, he again holds his pendant and turns into a human again. Scene changes when Inugami arrives and sees Dorotabo is scared. He calls himself a monster, but Inugami shows the tail behind him. It means he is also a demon and reveals that he knows that Dorotabo is a monster. His parents are human and ghoul, that's why he is a monster. Dorotabo also tells his actual name, which is Kabane. Also, he knows that he can't be the reason for killing the animals, because he has the pendant. He remembers Yurato, who has run into the forest. In the meantime, Yurato thinks about the incident when he was 5 years old. He accidentally pushes Kabane, his head was smashed, and his blood color was also strange. But he came home without any harm. At that time, he thinks that it's his illusion. Moreover, he looks at the deer who attacks him, but Kabane arrives and tries to protect him. Inugami tells him about the method of killing them. They only are killed when their head is off, so Kabane cuts his head with an axe. In addition, they look at the ghoul, whom Inugami shoots with his gun. But he cannot blow up his neck, and Kabane punches at Ghoul's mouth. He has ripped his head off with his power. Now, Kabane knows that all incidents will be related to him. So, Inugami reveals that his aunt has called him to kill him. Now, Kabane also tells him to shoot, and Inugami shoots him. After that, he shows the hostess the dead body of Kabane, whom he is ready to bury. In the following scene, Inugami takes him to Tokyo, where he is alive. Demons can't be killed, even the wound of shoot has also healed. However, he takes him to his office and perfumes to alter his appearance. In the meantime, Shiki and Akira arrive, and they introduce themselves. But Shiki doesn't want to accept him as a friend and fellow. These children work for Inugami, and he also offers Kabane a job here. They must keep the balance between humans and the demon world. Also, they sort out the disputes between them and are called chemonists. At the same time, Shiki doesn't allow him to stay in his room and complains about wearing his shirt. He goes from here angrily, but Akira talks to him friendly. But Kabane considers him a girl, which infuriates him because Akira is a girl. She goes away weeping, and Inugami asks him to have friendly relations with them. Scene changes when Shiki thinks about the trap he has set up on the way. So, he goes to check in and looks at Kabane, whose feet were about to touch the string. At the same time, Shiki also arrives and accuses him of abandoning his parents. But Kabane assures that his parents have not abandoned him. He also becomes furious and hurts his leg with the string, and Shiki becomes concerned about him, but he is shocked to see that his feet have healed through his power. The following morning, Inugami took them to the first case of Kabane. Here they face traffic, and after telling them the approval of Inari, they allow them to go inside. The police officer reports swarms have attacked the mother and her younger son, but her other children are worried about them. Apart from this, the door is also covered, so that they can't come here. When they peek, they look at the bodies covered with swarms. A police officer also enters and swarms attack him. They also again close the door because they are going to come outside. Moreover, Inugami wants to transform, but it requires time. So, Shiki decides to trap them by throwing his power of spider web. When he spreads his web, he is astonished, because they have eaten it. The police officer panics and suggests blowing up this place, but the children can't see their mother dead. Just then Kabane says that he will do this task and accomplish it. Shiki and Akira are shocked because he is putting his life in danger, but Inugami permits him because he has trust in him. When Kabane goes inside, swarms covers his body, but he is perfectly alright, because Kabane is a demon who has no emotions of fear and pain. Also, he has no blood, so swarms cannot kill him. By obeying Inugami's order, he wipes them out from the center and swarms away. In the following scene, we see stolen shoes in the hand of Kabane. In the meantime, the elder son arrives to thank him for saving his family. He reveals the pathetic condition of his mother's shoes. So, his younger brother stolen shoes from the shop. When he was scolding his brother for stealing the shoes, swarms covered his body. Also, her mother tried to save her son, but she was also entrapped in it. Inugami asks him not to indulge in evil things. After that, Inugami gives them a welcome party. Now, Shiki and Kabane are conversing, sharing that they are Hanio. Shiki thinks that their parents have abandoned him, but Kabane has hope that Inugami will find them. So, he thinks his parents didn't abandon him and wants to locate them. Shiki also gives him a place in his room, and Shiki will be the head of this group. Scene changes when we see Inugami talking with Inari. Knowing that Kabane has a life stone, she wants to meet with him because he can prove to be a life changer. The following morning, Inugami tells Shiki and Akira to take Kabane to Inari. He reveals that Inari has a hold on the police and he needs her help to do many tasks. However, Shiki doesn't like her, but he can't deny his order. Scene changes when we see Inari welcomed by the police officer and they greatly respect her. Moreover, Kabane is interested in seeing so many people in Tokyo because he always lived in the village. When they reach here, the receptionist's head needs to allow them to meet with Inari. At the same time, Kun-chan arrives, who considers herself the daughter of Inari. She is here to take Kabane and asks his friends to wait here. Moreover, she throws him into the room, where he looks at Inari. She introduces herself, and she also knows everything about him. So, she wants to see the pendant hanging on his neck. Kabane hands over his pendant, which is very precious to her. After having the pendant, she doesn't need to serve the humans. So, Kun-chan rips his head off by hitting her hand. Kabane's head is separated from his body, and she orders the police officer to take the body with them. Also, she gives the task Kun-chan to deliver the head Inari-san. If Kabane's head comes out, he can be healed, so she asks her to be careful. In addition, she gives her the task of dealing with his friends. At the same time, Shiki and Akira are worried about Kabane, but they are relieved to see him. But Kabane looks weird at them, and Shiki makes fun of him. Now, Kun-chan couldn't tolerate it, and reveals her fox form. However, there is no need to pretend, so she transforms into a fox and goes to the second floor by jumping. Also, she starts throwing fire at them, but the staff is working as if nothing has happened, because they are in the illusion of Inugami. However, she again attacks them with fire, and Shiki snatches the box. When they open the box, they look at Kabane's head, who is thankful to Shiki for saving his life. In addition, Kabane asks them to throw his head at her, because he can handle her. Shiki knows he can do this, so he throws his head at her. Kabane has bit her shoulder and made her unconscious with this injury. Now, the fire has been extinguished, and everything is fine. Also, he generates his entire body again, and Shiki is surprised how he can produce his body so soon. When they come out, they look at Inugami, who knows about the evil plotting of Inari. He calls her, where Inari is happy to see the life stone. But soon, her happiness turns into anger and sadness, because this was fake. Kabane had consumed real life stone, and when he coughs, it appears. Also, Inugami warns her not to mess with him again, because this pendant belongs to Kabane, so she can't snatch it from him. When they return to the office, Inugami shows Kabane a light. This light attracts humans and devils here, who have an assignment for them. In the meantime, Kun-chan arrives, who is in a miserable situation. They take her to the house and give her food. When she revives, she tries to attack Kabane, but Inugami doesn't let her do so. Also, he makes her aware of the manner and asks her to clean the table. It reveals that a human has arrived to give them a task. He also tells his actual name, which is Yoruno. Yoruno is drinking at Inugami's place, and Kabane is surprised why drinking here at his place. Shiki replies that his partner runs this business, and Inugami doesn't want to talk about it. Meanwhile, Yoruno says that he has fallen in love with a girl. Also, he wants to know about her. Kabane becomes curious about love, then Akira updates that love is why he is here. So, he goes to Inugami and insists on taking these issues, because he can know more about love through this love. Now, all children are going to help him. Even Inugami tells Kun-chan to assist them. He will exchange Kabane's head, and she is happily ready for it. The following morning, they all go to Shinjuku Station exit. They are waiting for Mao-chan, because only adults can go inside. Meanwhile, they look at the cat and assume she is Mao-chan. So, Kun-chan catches her, and Yoruno shares his feeling in front of her. Even he presents the mouse that he is gathering after seeing her. Scene changes when Kabane hands over handkerchiefs to Inugami as a present of love. He considers love as light, and Inugami wonders how 13 years child can understand the deep meaning of love. Kun-chan is also here and will only go with taking his head. So, Inugami turns the orange into Kabane's head and she moves away. After some time, Inugami reveals that Yoruno and Mao-chan are together and happy. Akira is inspired by Kabane, who has completed mission. So, he considers him his master and wants to do a mission with him. Inugami also agrees and asks them to go inside the Shibuya's bridge. Here, many deaths have occurred, and they need to find the inhabitant and the reason for killing the people. Akira is stunned by knowing that this place will be dirty, but he is ready to do this mission with Kabane. Moreover, when he is there, he looks at Akira, who has arrived in a full hygienic costume. But he has slipped, and he has to remove it. At the same time, Akira reveals his past life in which his brother always protected him. Also, they live near the mountain of Yukianoko, a freezing place. Both parted when they left their village, and he joined Inugami to find his brother. Suddenly, he is about to scream because a monster is on his shoulder, but Kabane throws them into the water. Kabane has a specialty. He doesn't kill the demon until he has no choice. Also, he knows that Akira has made things of freezing quality, so he asks him to do it, but he doesn't know whether it will work because he is weakling. At the same time, a frog Kemono arrives, and it's about to attack him. But Kabane turns into action through the tool to the frog and holds Akira in his hand. Although frogs Kemono don't attack without any reason, they have become out of control when they watch their prey. Just then Tanuki makes the frog fall into the river again. Akira looks at Tanuki and becomes happy to see it. Tanuki has come here to bring the message of Inugami, in which he has mentioned killing the frogs, because they have become mad after consuming the human, so it would be best to eliminate them. Otherwise, they can be dangerous to the world. Also, he has given the blood to attract the frogs. Akira is frightened and Kabane asks him to go, but he encourages himself. He drops the blood into the stream, and many frogs start attacking them. So, Kabane tries his best to eliminate them by punching, but there are many. In addition, Akira is terrified and unable to move. When Frog tries to attack him, then Takuni saves him. The second time, he is saved by Kabane, but his shoulder is badly injured. Akira knows that he should help him, because he can't sit beside and watch him, so he activates his power. However, Akira has freezed everyone. Even he has chilled the body of Kabane, who is happy for him. In the following scene, we look at Takuni talking with Giant Frog. Giant Frog thanking him for wiping out the frogs who became mad. Scene changes when they all are cleaning the house. Kabane is also cleaning. Remembers that Inugami has forbidden him to go to the specific room. As he is going to lift the boxes, a cold hand appears from the specific room and drags him in. When Inugami inquires about him, then no one knows about him. So, he understood where he is, and Inugami goes to the security room. Here, Kabane is with Mihai, a vampire and very smart. He wants to appoint Kabane to open the bottle and close them. Also, Inugami knows Mihai will treat him as a servant, restraining him from using him for his advantage. Inugami tells them about Mihai, who is strong and extraordinarily intelligent. This is why he has invited him to join them and ensure their privacy from Inari. Shiki, who wants to save Kabane, makes deals with Mihai but always loses. Also, Kabane plays with him, but he fails. In the following scene, Kabane goes outside to bring the food, where he meets with Kun-chan. But she is not interested in Kabane's head, because Inari has hired another Kitsune. She is too much sad, because she always has considered her mother. At the same time, Kabane asks her to fight. The fight starts when she makes him fall to the ground and punches him, but he counters attack and throws her away. He considers her weak and thinks that Inari has done right with her. When she starts weeping, then Kabane encourages her by holding her hand. Aside from this, she now wants to live with him, but Kabane promises her to return soon. Moreover, Inugami is surprised to see Mihai outside. He is here because Kabane has broken his wrist, and he will rest here. In addition, he will also enjoy playing games with the children. He moves to the computer and accepts the dangerous mission. Also, he doesn't give Inugami to make him stop. When Kabane arrives, then Mihai assigns them the mission of Bug Bite Electronics. Here previous year, 16 people were killed. But in recent years, nothing has happened, so they have to go and investigate it. Inugami is trapped in the security room and tries to open the room. He needs to be gentle, otherwise the lock system can explode. Apart from this, Shiki goes inside the building through his silk and becomes invisible. There is also an AI car waiting for him to help him. Through this car, Mihai keeps an eye on him, while Akira and Kabani, who are outside, are ready if something happens to him. In the meantime, he looks inside the room where people are working without any breaks. He is feeling odd because they are about to die but still working. Suddenly, a worker comes out because he cannot take more pressure. On the way, he meets with the manager Kaga, who takes him to the counseling room. Shiki also chases them and looks at the mosquito girl who has absorbed his brain through his hair. After this, the guy again goes to work, and Shiki is about to die from fear of what is happening here. The situation is also beyond his understanding. So, Mihai goes to Inugami to inquire about the mosquito. They can consume organs, blood, and the brain, but he has understood that they eat only the brain. So, the worker could do work without thinking twice about what they are doing wrong or right. When Mihai asks him to proceed with the mission, he forbade doing it, because these girls are 3 in number and dangerous. On the other hand, they are only 2, because he knows that Akira has lost consciousness. So, he wants to talk with Inugami before proceeding. When Mihai looks like he will not listen, he starts smashing the car into the wall. It creates the sound, and the girls come to check on it. The girls who have stung the worker hide in the car and pretend there is nothing. However, they move to check the place because they want to cross-check. On the other hand, he is thinking of getting rid of this place as soon as possible. But the same girl has arrived, who picked up the car. She wants to absorb his organ to kill him. But when she is about to attack him, the car gives her considerable current. But Shiki is still unable to move because of fear. Mihai understood that something had happened in his past, so he is in trauma and he will play with him more. Scene changes when Akira and Kabane try to get inside the building. In this effort, they confront manager Kaga's sister Momoko, but Kabane has knocked her down. On the other hand, Shiki remembers the time when he used to walk with his mother, but she vanished one day, and he thought something terrible had happened to her. Scene jumps to the present, where Mihai says that Kabane has overpowered the girl. By listening to it, energy overpowers him, and he decides not to scare her. He disappears, and she starts watching him through her eyes, but she cannot catch him. Meanwhile, he creates a spider web around her and jumps on her face from the roof. Also, Kabane has reached here by dragging Momoko here. Now, they are thinking about what they should do next. At the same time, manager Kaga arrives and offers to go away without telling anyone about this incident. But Kabane refuses to do so because he can't forget his duty. This makes her angry, and she kills her sister by stinging her. Also, she moves to them by turning into a giant mosquito. Shiki is throwing the silks at her, but it is useless in front of her. So, Kabane attacks her, but she holds him and he cannot even move. Shiki tries to help him, but she throws him away, and Akira uses freezing power. But it needs water to work, so she has also thrown him away. Moreover, Kabane tries to beat them because he knows she will kill his friends. At the same time, Mihai's voice appears from the car that asks him to use his instinct. Only his instinct can take him out from this worst situation. The bones which have broken with his struggle heals, and he rips her hand off. Meanwhile, Inugami asks him to return and orders him not to kill her. From there on, Nobamaru will lead, and Kabane awakes Akira. In the meantime, Nobamaru Kitsune arrives and greets them. He burns the girls by touching them. Also, he tells Kabane that Inari will not leave him unless she has Lifestone. He also remembers to update him that he doesn't like Inari. However, Kabane takes them home, and he notices that Shiki's condition is not well. In the office, Inugami tells Mihai to stay away with this matter, otherwise he will send him back. But Mihai wants to make them stronger by giving them a dangerous mission. But Inugami is also concerned about them, so he can't put their life at risk. Apart from this, Kabane is worried about them and wants to protect them. The following morning, Shiki is pissed off because Kabane is not letting him go. In the meantime, Kabane remembers Kun-chan and runs to her. She is upset because he didn't appear last time. Also, she has rotten food and she has planned to eat with him. Moreover, Shiki goes to Inugami and inquires about his parents. After this episode ends. If you want the second part, comment below. Also, subscribe and check out the Ani Summary for more anime recaps.